All right. It is 6:10, so we're starting a little bit late. Again, as we get into them those holiday hours, that holiday season, it's going to be harder and harder to maintain a good schedule. But we're still going to work on religions one more time. Apologies to anybody that is only able to watch this via YouTube because you don't use Twitch or whatever. There was a big mix-up with the holidays, and we just posted the same religion stream like twice in a row with a different name and a different thumbnail. That's sorted out, so tomorrow morning, last week's religion one will be up, and then the following Monday, or this coming Monday, this one will be up, but we're going to get it sorted out. Anyways, yeah, holidays, good stuff. So, religions. Last week we dived pretty deep into the light, Lady Christine, the circle, and science. So this week we're going to try and flesh out the rest of these so that we have all nine of the major religions of the world sort of defined a bit better, and maybe try to match it up to some mechanical stuff. So I've got Theros open. Theros is, of course, very religious. There's an entire system in here called Piety. It gives you special abilities based on how faithful you are to a particular god, even though it is a Greek-style game with a pantheon and all that jazz. And everyone is polytheistic in that they acknowledge there's many gods, they believe in many gods. Of course, you want to be a champion of one god, and as a god in this setting, you want all the worship for yourself. You don't really want to share it with anybody else in the pantheon. Kind of the same situation over here. These guys aren't really related to each other, but they are technically in the same pantheon, in that they are in the same world and worshipped by the same people. So there is, of course, some competition for followers, competition for belief, fear and belief powering and changing and modifying the dread domains that everybody lives in. So there's definitely some reason for them to be sort of thirsty for believers. Now, the Gods of Theros section is a pretty big, understandably. It also has other realms. It's really a great resource if you are trying to do a more divine-focused game. Hey, what's up? I've chopped a bunch of this up and used it for Mythic Odyssey. I probably could have grabbed even more than I did, but I think it's going to be pretty useful for what we're trying to do. So let's see. Pantheon of 15 gods, which is like 6 more gods than we have, I guess. The Gods of Theros are far more active than the deities of most D&D worlds. It doesn't mean that they are ordinary creatures. They aren't mere mortals, nor are they monsters that can be fought. Further, the Gods of Theros aren't omnipotent. Although they are physically and magically powerful, ageless, all but indestructible, their actions are bound by the decrees of Klothos. They can tangle the threads of destiny to a point, but are forbidden from overstepping their assigned places in the pantheon. The god Krufix is able to confine them to nicks, preventing any direct interaction between the gods and the mortal world. Likewise, they aren't omniscient. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. They grant their people the ability to cast spells, and they can effortlessly duplicate the effect of any spell they could grant. They also have broad influence over aspects of the world associated with the portfolios. For example, Purphoros can make a volcano erupt, Thassa can call up a tidal wave, gods can bestow supernatural blessings on mortals, and they can lay terrible curses, such as when Mogus turned a herd of cattle into Catolpas. Alright. It's up to you now, robot.
Catoblepaces.
Catoplebases. Thanks. The gods can assume any form they choose, and they most commonly appear as humanoids, the form in which people of Theros might easily imagine them, but on an enormous scale. They often seem to be walking across the dome of the sky, with their feet disappearing just below the horizon. Any part of the god's body that isn't directly lit takes on the appearance of the starry night sky of Nyx. The gods sometimes also appear as animals or magical creatures, and they manifest in insubstantial forms like sunlight or wind. Alright, all that's super dope. Let's see. A group of adventurers might try to convince a group of gods to lend their aid against a god who has become a threat to the moral world, hoping to get the gods to band together and restrain or punish the offender. Krufix or Klothos might be able to force a god into physical form that doesn't fill the sky, perhaps something similar to an Empyrean or the Tarrasque, which could enable the adventurers to battle the god, especially if they have access to a divine weapon, like the artifacts detailed in Chapter 5. Defeating a god in that form would merely weaken the deity, allowing other members of the pantheon to capture, bind, or punish them. Okay. I don't feel like flavor-wise any of that really impacts our religions or our four dreadlords and our 9 religions. This is very much unique to Theros, but I kind of wanted to delve into it to get a little bit more about it. Divine relationships. The Pantheon of Theros is a family, a large and dysfunctional family, riven with petty jealousy and rivalries, but also held together by genuine affection, admiration, and cooperation. They expanded through 4 generations of a divine evolution. Titans were beings of utter chaos. Greek myth. Let's see. Myths and deeds. Countless tales tell the history, deeds, and nature of the gods. That could be important, how these different religions have influenced history and the development of culture, essentially. Worship. The idea of the existence of gods as it grew in popularity among the mortals of Theros it didn't bring the gods into being by itself. Mortal reverence and worship turned universal ideas into deities. It wasn't until mortals trusted the gods to act on their behalf in response to sacrifices and prayers that the gods took shape from the dream substance of the Nyx. Worship remains crucial to the power of the gods, though mortals are generally not aware of their influence. Were a god to cease being worshipped, their might would dwindle. This is very Planescape right here. This is very Planescape stuff. And also relevant to a dread domain, since everything is fear and belief driven. The most prevalent form of expressing reverence is the practice of libation, pouring out a splash of wine or water in honor of the gods. Pious people perform a simple rite of prayer and libation every morning and evening at a household altar or hearth, while the less devoted might still pour out a splash of wine before drinking the rest. The defining feature of a Theran temple is a statue of a god, which the actual god can occupy and animate at any time. Worshippers kneel before it, touch or kiss it, drape it in garlands of fine cloth, leave offerings for it. These acts are sometimes spontaneous outpourings of love and gratitude, sometimes petitions imploring the god to cure illness, send rain for crops, guarantee a safe journey, or perform any other favor related to the god's sphere of influence. Most people aren't devoted to a single god, though many prefer some gods over others. Alright. Clerics and champions. It's far more common for a hero to be devoted to an individual god than an individual mortal. Makes sense. Let's see. Alignment, meh. Domains, common symbol. Alright, and then we got the piety system, which probably not needed for this particular setting. And this is probably, of all the 5e books, this is probably the most fleshed out source you're going to get for talking about gods. Now, you could go to some homebrew stuff and definitely get much more content. I think Ed Greenwood released like a 5th edition Forgotten Realms companion book that is very beefy, and it has all sorts of hyper detailed stuff about religions and holidays and lifestyles and all sorts of other stuff that you would not get anywhere else. So I believe that book really fleshes out the religions quite a bit too. So let's take a look at this example. Atheros is the god of passage. All mortals are destined to face Atheros, the river guide, when their lives come to an end. The god of passage ferries the dead across the Tartix River, conveying each mortal soul to its destiny in the underworld. For most people, Atheros embodies the greatest mysteries of existence, the terror and wonder of life's last moments. Blah, 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 blah. What he appears to the people, this is important to note. Alright, his influence. Most mortals favor the river guide's role in their own deaths. Countless mortal superstitions prescribe ways to garner his favor. The The River Guide has an expansive definition of what constitutes a coin, from actual stamp currency and jewelry to shiny beads or opalescent shells. Ultimately, he seems most concerned with whether a mortal has prepared for death, keeping payment ready out of respect, and as a personal memento mori. Okay. He's also invoked as God of Passage, as well as a deity with dominion over borders, boundaries, and that which is neither. Alright, and then his goals, that's important to note. Divine relationships, cares little for the dealings of their gods, as long as their deities don't impinge on the border between life and death. The river god has little to do with them. More than once, this isolation has put Atheros in silent conflict with Heliod and Erebos, both of whom subtly resent Atheros for limiting how much each can meddle in the other's domains. Thassa bears a chilly respect for Atheros. In a time before reckoning, boundaries divided the gods of the sea's dominion from the Tartix River. Though the god of the sea quietly resents sharing even a drop of water, she considers the river guide to be a quiet, unobtrusive trespasser on her favored element. Worship of him. Most funeral traditions include small offerings and words of reverence to Atheros, predominant among those. The burying or burning of the dead with a clay funerary mask to frame the identity of the dead for Atheros. We actually found out about this last night when we were prepping for Odyssey. 1 coin, so soul may pay for the ferry. Some people are laid to rest with a large amount of grave goods. Memorial practices can widely vary by culture, from tearful, somber affairs to lively celebrations. Alright, during the feast of Necrologion, which gives its name to the 8th month of the calendar of Meletis, pious souls silently spend the day reading ancient memoirs and writing messages for their own descendants. Wow, he is a spooky dude. Holy shit, is he spooky. Wow. That's cool. Alright. And then they've got some myths about him. And then they talk about his champions, what they do in the game. They even give you some ideals to add to your character. And then they talk about piety. Oof, that is very, very thorough. Alright. Let's see what we could do with this this information in our own thing. Alright, here we go. So if we took light from the top and worked our way down, let's see, Atheros and the light. Okay, so those are cute bulleted lists, and that's cool and all, but now it's time to get some of this writing done. So let's see what we could do. All right. Purify the Darkness. We'll do that. There we go. And basically, the light exists for one reason: to purge the dark. Evil, weakness, evil, weakness, and the many failings of the mortal world must be purified by the light and cast away for all time if the world is to be a safe and pure place. Alright. I'm not writing like a whole flipping book yet, but I feel like that's, you know, it's a good start. It's basically like genocidal Puritans, kind of. What about the influence? Alright, so influence of the light. Ugh. I don't know when I'm going to call it quits on this keyboard. It's too sensitive for my chonky fingers. Alright. So how does this influence people? Okay. 5 realms are terrifying. Great and ancient evils. hunt and feed upon the mortals of the land. Well, I just put upon mortals. Night and day, your life and your soul is in peril. It is this constant fear that drives many into the worship of the light. The light promises strength to replace fear. It promises purity to replace corruption. Unfortunately, fortunately, these beliefs are often carried to extremes by the zealous practitioners. We'll just leave it as the zealous. Okay. Alright, what are the goals? Alright. Nope, there's no H. Come on, hands. Oh, now we got caps on? Sweet. Alright, so goals. Let's see. The light is a divine purpose fueled by the will of Justin, Dread Lord of the Nibel Territories. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Territories. Yeesh. Wow, I actually spelled it right. Didn't spell any of the other words in the sentence right, but I got that one. The light is a divine purpose field? The light is a divine purpose fueled, not field. Fueled by the will of Justin, Dread Lord of the Nibel Territories. Let's see. It is the willful ignorance of terrified people running from their own fears under the guise of brave crusaders. The light knows it can travel fastest on wings of worry, and thus the faithful of the light spread propaganda that incites fears and uses them to further the spread of the light's teachings. Let's see. Mortals often work best with a unified enemy, and followers of the light have a long list of enemies at hand. Casting all other religions and realms as the fiendish forces of the dark. So it's sort of just like a cancer. Sort of a cancer. Just keeps growing. Feeding on fear and belief. All right, that seems pretty good. Divine relationships, okay. All right, this one's pretty easy. Ugh. All right. Divine relationships. All other faiths and realms beyond the Nibel territories are always suspect. In fact, they are often cast as the servants of the dark and the communal motivations of the lights spread through the 5 realms. All right. Would they be friends with any of the other ones? Let's see. The Bloodline, Death, Strength, Circle. They would find a way to villainize all of them. All right, so let's justify that. Okay. Even the faithful. And what do we decide with Christine? They're called the Embers and Ashes. Followers of the Ashes and Embers. Okay. Alright. Even the faithful of Saint Christine. Yeah, that kind of works. Are cast as villains. Okay. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Using perverted teachings of the light and Justin to lure people away from the light's embrace and protection. Man, this is a pretty messed up religion. Alright, so how do we worship the light? Worship. Alright. Funerals, blah, 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 myths. Okay. So... I feel like the light wouldn't burn their dead, because they'd want to keep their dead in case they needed them. I almost think that they would reanimate their dead as divine undead. That's kind of dope. Alright. Let's see. Ritual sacrifice of evil creatures and individuals. These sacrifices are always right. These sacrifices are always made with fire, as evil must be purged from the world. Conversely, good followers are embalmed and entombed. When needed, the dead are called into the service of the light, their corpses animating and their empty, dead eyes glowing with a divine light. Most temples are staffed by powerful undead, reanimated into service by and for the light. I'm digging that shit. And oh my god, stop trying to help me. Stop. I'll just do it over again. Reanimated. And you can get rid of this word. Alright. Cool. So far so good. And then I guess for myth, we'll do, let's see. We'll do 3 myths. Okay. Justin is the mortal embodiment of the light and the speaker of its truths. Okay. Let's see, what else? Those who die in the service of the light, who lived, those who die in the service of the light, whose efforts pushed back and purged the dark, are sometimes reanimated as more than just mindless husks. They return as angels. Period. Alright. Should call the risen dead angel if you want to be edgy. What the fuck, Dom? What? Perfect. Okay. And let's see. You know what? We're gonna call the mindless husks lanterns because get ready for this shit. What's the lowest type of angel in Mount Celestia in Dungeons and Dragons? It's a lantern archon. What? It's perfect. Pretty sure it's a lantern archon. It's been a while. Now I gotta look it up. Hold on. All right, lantern anchor, lantern. Okay. All right. Anyways, this is a lantern archon. It's a real thing in D&D. So yeah, it is a type of angel, tiny celestial, lawful good. It's real. Okay, believe me. Just because D&D Beyond doesn't have it. Oh man. Oof. I guess that's the end of the stream, guys. Thanks, Nox Justice. We're good. Let's see. Justice is the moral embodiment of the light and speaker of truth. Those who die in the service of the light, whose efforts push back the approaches, sometimes reanimated. Okay. Alright, what is this last part going to be? You know what? Maybe we'll come up with third myth by looping back around to it after we do some other ones. Alright, so the Bloodline, we didn't develop it very much, but I think that's because it was pretty self-sufficient all by itself. But let's go back to the beginning. All right. So the bloodline is eternal knowledge shared and curated. All right. So what does that mean? Okay. All right. The bloodline is a magical force. Connects minds, souls, and experiences into a long and unbreaking thread or chain. Okay. Faithful who have embraced the bloodline begin to experience memories, dreams, and ideas not their own. As they walk this path and share their own experiences, emotions, and lives with the bloodline, their connection to it deepens, and they experience more from this divine collective. We basically just said that the internet is a religion. Just putting it out there. It's the internet. We got Christianity up here, and we got the internet right here. I don't know. Maybe we're just a bunch of hacks. But you know what? Let's just keep going. Alright, so what is the bloodline's influence? Okay. Let's see. Because of the power of shared knowledge and experience. Right? Yeah, I mean, if ever there were two things that are definitely opposed to each other, it would be free thinkers on the internet and Christianity. Oof. Woof. Alright, because of the power of shared knowledge and experience, the bloodline is positioned to greatly impact and influence the world and the 5 realms. Okay. Financially, industrially, scientifically, and magically. There could be no equal. Why then does the bloodline not control all of the 5 realms? And we know, because we were there, yes, infiltrate. Yeah, because you're hacking the veins to get at the blood, for sure. That's what it's, yep. Why is the bloodline not control all the 5 realms? We know from developing the realm that this is from, what is it, Lena Tustani, that the leader of that does not want people to be too advanced. All right. The founder of the bloodline and the higher ranking members understand the dangers posed by rampant free knowledge. It is for this reason that the bloodline is closely curated and its many secrets kept hidden from the masses. The slow growth and expansion of the bloodline is by choice and design. To grow too rapidly would be the bloodline's undoing. Good shit. Good shit. Alright. Goals. Alright. The goal of the bloodline is to grow in all ways while maintaining control over the masses. Ideally, all will eventually be a part of the bloodline, but only the truly talented, worthy, and disciplined will ever have access to the true wealth of knowledge, power, and magic it contains. The people that did BioShock decided, nope, that's bad. Yeah, in a way, BioShock was a great story about free capitalism and how quickly that shit gets off the rails. There's a certain amount of societal government, governing that you have to have, or a civilization will fucking collapse. I mean, that's just how it is. So, at least when human beings are involved. All right. Relationships. All right. So, divine relationships. This is kind of interesting because, conversely to the light, the bloodline values all religions and cultures, as each is a different lens through which knowledge and experience can be viewed and gained. I love these smart owl vampires. Oh my god. I want to start commissioning so much art of these like vampires. I'm like on a vampire kick right now. And like the idea of these like knowledge hungry, like evil librarian owl vampires is just I love it. Love it so much. I wonder if there's gonna be anything good from Strixhaven that could be applied to the bloodline. Oh, that'd be so cool. Anyways, oh, that's what we're doing next week, by the way. We're busting out A5E, Level Up 5E by Morris, and we're going to look at how they handle vampires, because I heard that they have a pretty good system for handling vampires. We're going to compare and contrast it with how Grimhollow handles vampires, because I really want to dig into vampires. I'm very excited. I'm running a vampire deck in Commander right now for Magic, and I'm just very, very hyped on vampires right now. So that's what we're going to work on next week. The Bloodline values all religions and cultures, as each is a different lens through which knowledge and experience can be viewed and gained. Let's see. Of particular interest is science and the ability of its practitioners to emulate divine magic without any divine source. Yeah. I think that would be like that. Strixhaven is like December 7th. Let's see. Let's see. Strixhaven. Yep, December 7th. So yeah. I could have sworn I already pre-ordered this. Oh yeah, I already own this. Okay. So yeah, it comes out December 7th, which is what, like a Wednesday? No, it's a Tuesday. Okay, so we might just do Strixhaven next week, I guess. Yeah, okay. Why don't we do that? We'll do Strixhaven next week and see what could be added to Gothic Horror. So we'll do Strixhaven and then we'll do our Gothic Horror stream. So we'll make it like a 2-hour stream next week. And we'll do like an hour of Strixhaven and then we'll roll into an hour of Gothic Horror. I think that'll be pretty fun. All right. Oh, when does Level Up 5e release? I don't know when it officially releases. I'm pretty sure you can pre-order it, though, from their site and then get access to it early. Let's see. You know who would know for sure? Their Discord server, which I'm pretty sure they have a Discord server. So let me give you an invite real quick. There we go. Let's see. A5E Discord. There you go. Okay. So back to this. Divine relationships and worshipping. Alright. I do like the idea of libations and bloodline. So let's see. A minor but daily act of faith among the bloodline is spilling a small amount of your libation, be it blood, wine, water, or whatever sustains you. Because, I mean, I feel like that's pretty symbolic of blood and bloodline. Okay. The creation of new ideas, art, culture, media. Let's see. The study of history, magic, and its practices. Anything that would expand and refine the bloodline's knowledge. The bloodline's vaults of knowledge, experiences. Yeah, we'll just do that. Knowledge and experiences. There we go. Sweet. And then what do we got here? Myths. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do 3 myths. It is rumored that through the bloodline, the founder can seize control of anyone's body and or mind at any time. Let's see. Okay. faithful who have proven exceptionally skilled, talented, resourceful, or knowledgeable are absorbed into the bloodline upon death. Or, in some cases, granted eternal life to continue their great works. And we'll leave the other one blank. All right. Cool. So let's see. Yeah, nice. Now, we got Lady Christine. We could expand out as well, but we also have some that never got expanded out. Such as, and it's going to be a shorter stream than normal because I've got Christmas stuff I got to do. Let's see. So we still have Death, Strength, and Spirits that never really got expanded out too much. So here we go. With Strength, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to say, in a world of brutality and danger, stand strong. All right, so basically, this cult values strength above all else. Morality, education, culture, and family all are cast aside in the pursuit of strength. Only the strong can survive the many horrors, many dangers, and the many tyrants who seek dominion over 5 realms and its people. Nice. Okay, I kind of like where this is going. So there is an anime from when I was a kid, this is a very long time ago, called Record of Lodoss War. And in Record of Lodoss War, there are these 2 side characters that kind of just show up. The whole thing's about like these Japanese kids D&D campaign, basically, and they turn it into an anime. It's really, really cool. But there are these 2 characters named Orson and Fiery Redhead. I can't remember her name. But Orson is a berserker. And in that setting, the berserkers are all possessed by a spirit of rage and fury. And the spirits of rage and fury enter your body when you are basically at your absolute lowest. So if something horrible happens and you are just beaten down, basically like a mental illness situation, like you know, a trauma, like a tremendous trauma happens to you, these spirits are always waiting to enter these people and then give them supernatural strength, supernatural endurance, that kind of thing. So I kind of like that idea that the devils within this campaign setting are essentially a type of spirit, or maybe they're actually devils that were summoned here and they can't return because it's a demiplane. They can't actually return to the Nine Hells. And so now they are like bodiless, sort of just angry spirits or entities looking to enter people and have a physical form to feel something besides trapped. You know what I'm saying? So kind of digging that vibe quite a bit. So I think that's the direction I want to go with strength. Is the lingering spirits of devils summoned long ago and trapped within the 5 realms. Long for physical bodies and a way to sow the primal evils of their being back into the world. Members of this cult are recruited, but also found by devils. Any individual who has suffered great trauma, whose mind has retreated from the harshness of reality, is the prime host for these spirits. So too are those filled with malice and vengeance. No, malice and a thirst for vengeance. Oh yeah, I'm into this shit. This is going in a good direction. Okay. So let's see. That's the Flavor Flav. And then we've got Influence. All right. Okay. Let's see. The spirits strength were once devils and retain lingering memories of the order and legion that defined them. When possible, members of this cult will seek each other out and form up into mercenary bands and eventually organized armies. Okay. Both the greatest generals and the most brutal berserkers are often often hail from this cult. Nice. But see, then we have murder down here. So would murder be like the devils, essentially? And if that's the case, are they like the strength? Would they just be more savage? You know what I'm saying? Okay. The defining character. Well, let's see. We'll do that up here. The defining characteristics of those who have pledged themselves to strength. Those who pledge themselves to strength. is an otherworldly discipline. Despite being savage combatants, they retain and maintain a strict regime. Yeah, I like that because that creates a good like divergence between devils and demons, similar to like the Blood War myth of 5e. Yeah. Alright. I'm into that shit. That sounds really cool. So, individuals who have pledged themselves to strength are essentially more traditional lawful evil type people, whereas those who have given themselves into bloodshed, murder, carnage, that kind of thing, they're pretty much just far gone. Nice. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. So then that just leaves spirits, right? Spirits and death, I think, are the remaining two. Maybe? Let's see. No, Carnage was a death cult all by itself. So, yeah, that would just leave spirits, which is like neutral, like right there in the middle. All right. Nice. So, we're going to leave off there. I think this Theros guidebook was actually very useful in helping us even further define out these different religions and give us a good template for how to expand out the rest of them as we continue developing the world. So, like we mentioned earlier, next Tuesday, Strixhaven is going to drop. What we'll do is we'll go over Strixhaven in like a Let's Check It Out stream, which will then feed into a Gothic Horror prep stream, wherein we'll take anything cool from Strixhaven and see how it could apply to the world building that we're currently working on. So that'll be a pretty exciting double feature next Tuesday. Any other special announcements going on? We got Storm King's Thunder, level 15-16 game that's running the next 2 Fridays. So feel free to check that out. 3 more sessions each of Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, and Skull and Shackles, which is Thursday. So we're ending the year by ending a lot of campaigns. So a lot of new stuff will be popping up in January, February. So very exciting. Yeah, that's about it. No other games tonight. I'm off to do some Christmas stuff. It was very nice hanging out with everybody, and I will see you next time.